Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sara Jane, and welcome to Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls on Gift of Healing TV. This program is called Triggers. Do you know yours? I suppose it would be a good place to start is, what is a trigger, other than that thing that's on a gun? But in some respects, that is exactly what it is. It is something that creates a reaction in you. It's something that triggers you. Now, for me, when I started hearing this word triggers, and then it was actually, yeah, I do understand. And there are things that have happened in my life, so I can see them by looking back in my life. Now, I know a lot of people say, your past is your past, leave it in the past. But sometimes it is a really good thing to do is to use it as a point of reference. Not to live there, but just as a point of reference. Have there been things that happened in your life and you've gone into reaction mode? Now, sometimes you are not aware that you've actually done that until way in the future, way beyond that point in time. And this is something that came to me, was it earlier this year or was it the end of last year? Anyway, conversation with a group of people. And I became aware that although I, at the time, was unaware of the trigger, I became aware of what that trigger was and why I then behaved the way I did. And so the easiest thing for me to do is briefly tell that story. Going back to my childhood when I was hospitalised, I felt unwanted, unloved, not good enough, and certainly not heard. In spite of the fact I think I cried a lot, but I was it was very, very little, and didn't understand what was happening, why I required my parents the most. They weren't there. Not my parents' fault. Circumstances and rules of the hospital. So when my wake-up call came in the form of a broken jaw, dentist broke it, extracting a wisdom tooth. No, I wasn't hit by anybody, no road accident. But, I'm not saying he deliberately broke my jaw. But it happened. I think I was broken for a week. Operation, result, 6 months of pain and sleepless nights. But this goes back to the day of the operation, or the day and the day after the operation. My husband at the time picked me up from the hospital, brought me home, made me a bowl of soup, because I certainly wasn't going to be able to chew anything, and it's probably something I'd already made myself, homemade. And then the following morning, it was right, just get back on with it. And the sense I'm getting is that I just wasn't being listened to. I was in pain, I couldn't sleep, and that went on for 6 months. But I went back. That trigger was the not feeling listened to, the not feeling heard, would also make me feel very unloved. And so I started to create the self-fulfilling prophecy of relationships not working. I was triggered. And I could see that with hindsight. But now that I am aware, if anything like that was to happen again, I hope that I could actually deal with it differently. So when you become aware of your triggers, and it's sort of like, okay, fine, I know that triggers me. How can I stay calm? How can I deal with this differently? How can I actually express myself and say, actually, no, it's not okay for you to treat me like that. Now, I also became very aware of my husband's upbringing, because I appreciate that it was all tied in. His upbringing, what he witnessed within his own family home, if you like, the way his father was with his mother, I have that feeling was his go-to reaction of how to deal with it. So it was a learned behavior in him that triggered a learned behavior in me. And therefore this is really important to talk. So think about what has happened in your life. It's not about living there. It really isn't. But what situations, circumstances, or things that you witnessed within the family home as a child could create actions or reactions within you? And even if it's in a conversation with yourself initially, help yourself to talk through it. Because I suppose this is what I did. And this all came to me while I was having one of my daily walks in the local woods. And it was just like, it was that light bulb moment, that understanding. Has something happened recently in your life? And do you think, have I been triggered? Has this thoughtful nuggets and pearls, you listening to it and thinking, because I do, now that I have got an understanding, okay, there are other things. Yeah, I know there are things that trigger me, there's certain words that trigger me, but I've been accepting of that the whole time, and I'm very vociferous in the fact that those words trigger me, because I will say so. I will say something. And it is learning to find our voice. And if people can't understand, because they haven't been through necessarily what we have been through. I haven't been through what you've been through. You haven't been through what I've been through. But maybe some of our experiences are very similar. They don't have to be the same. It's the similar feelings that they create within us. Listen to the feelings that the things that have happened to you or that you have witnessed have created in you. And if you can, be aware when those feelings crop up. Because for me, when we become aware of the feelings that can potentially become the triggers to a behavior, and I'm not saying that I was mean and nasty, but boy did I get very... my mother-in-law accused me of treating the cats better than I treated him. And she was probably right, because I didn't think he wanted to be in the marriage anymore. The way he reacted, and then treated me almost ignoring me at times. He did want to be in the marriage. He was just behaving the way his father had behaved to his mother. So it does pay to learn about people around you and their life. But it took a lot of years, because that marriage finished over 20 years ago. So it took me over 20 years to be in a place to be able to understand some things in my past. I hope that by sharing here, that you won't have to wait until you've had to go through your wake-up call. You get to start your healing journey. to start being aware of some of those things that might trigger you. Because they can be a gift. They don't have to be about destruction, but they can be very destructive. I hope that has helped. And please, feel free to connect with me. You can leave a message, giftofhealingtv.com, so www.giftofhealingtv.com. You can leave a message on the website. You can ask me to say, don't publish it, because it doesn't get published till I've seen it. And obviously I will answer it. If you said private, I won't publish it or publish the answer. You can email me, giftofhealingtv@gmail.com. So please do get in touch if there is something that you'd like to explore a little further. You have a question you're not sure you've understood. Feel free to connect. And feel free to, there's over 100 of these Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls on the website, because all the replays are up there on the Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls page. Please feel free to go and listen to more. Not all of them are just me. I have guests, and there are a few that are also from other people as well, without me in them. So please feel free to go and explore the rest of the website as well. There's lots there for you. Next week, there's going to be another Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls. And this one is called Survival Mode versus Living. I hope you will join me for that. In the meantime, take care, be safe, stay well. Namaste.